you trying to find ways to make the liveaboard life a little easier, a little simpler, maybe a little bit more convenient? Well, look no further. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 of my favorite tips and hacks to make the liveaboard life a little more livable. Tip number 1. We discovered soon after moving aboard our boat that the bath sheets we had invested in and had embroidered with our logo were actually not a very good decision. They actually just took way too long to dry, so we just used those for decorative towels, and then we switched over to regular sized bath towels. But even then, from day to day, the bath towel hanging in the bathroom just doesn't seem to get very dry. So what do? Every day we put our bath towels out to dry on the aft deck, and by the time we get done working at the end of the day, they're nice and dry and ready to use the next morning. My second tip is find items and gadgets to use in your galley that serve more than one purpose. And one of my favorite multi-purpose gadgets is the Nutra Ninja. This thing is great. It can do sauces and salad dressings, smoothies, cocktails. It can even dice up some garlic. So I use this thing all the time. I keep it on the counter without the top, of course. It just sits right on my coffee bar, ready for me to use for one of its many purposes whenever I need it. My third tip is one for when you're getting underway and you may, like us, have a bar. Whether your bar is sitting down on top of a counter like ours is, or even if it's in a cabinet and you want to make sure your bottles do not overturn in rough seas. Here's what we've discovered. First of all, really wide bottles like Hendrick's Gin, they can just stay put because they have a wide base, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere. At least that's our experience. But other bottles do concern me, so I use the nifty little cardboard wine and spirits carrier from the grocery store. And I take these taller bottles that are more likely to go over, and I just store them in here for the duration of our outing, and then when we get back, I restock them onto the bar. Tip 4 is invest in a little handheld vacuum cleaner. Now we have a regular size vacuum cleaner that we use frequently, but this I use a lot more often. It's perfect for getting into tight little spaces, for getting pet hair off my pillows. It's just super handy. I keep it permanently charging because it's connected to a plug inside a locker in the V-berth. My fifth tip is a simple one, and it's harkening back to days of old when your grandmother used to use a clothesline. Now, in my entire adult life, before I moved on this boat, I do not believe I ever used a clothesline. I actually do use the clothesline now, and our previous owners actually installed one in our engine room, but I know many boats do not have engine rooms large enough to have a clothesline, so you could use it on your aft deck. But I find it to be really helpful because sometimes the dryer just doesn't work quite right. You know, the boat washer dryer is always a little questionable, and also just clothes that I don't want to go through the dry cycle, I just hang onto the clothesline. It's super handy. Plus, the clothesline is also handy for hanging up damp swimsuits or wet beach towels. Number 6, one of the hacks I've really enjoyed since we moved on the boat is my magnetic spice rack. It's right here next to the stove and the oven. My spices are super easy, right within reach, and I just fill them up when they run out. This is a great idea for boat life. Another tip for the galley, and this is number 7, is use Nonskid shelf liners in all your shelves. It's going to keep everything stable, from cups to jars and spices. Anything you need is going to stay put while you're underway on these Nonskid liners. Tip number 8, if you are a list maker like I am, you will love getting some laminated list and checklist. Now, I have one I made last year. It's for a passage planning checklist, but just depends on what you like to use lists for. Go ahead and print it up, have it laminated, and then keep it in your chart drawer or somewhere really handy. Use some dry erase markers on it, and you're all set and ready for passage. Tip 9, I really love hanging shoe bags on the boat. I think I've mentioned this one before, but I'll mention it again. We have shoe bags hanging in our lockers in our stateroom, and they're super handy for shoes and for other things as well. You just hang them up on the sides of your lockers and they're ready to fill with whatever you need in them. My last tip, number 10, invest in command hooks. These are the boater's friend. Now my favorite use for command hooks on Sea Y'all is to hang them in closets or elsewhere to hang our hats on. It keeps the hats off of the surfaces. It helps them keep their shape. It helps us to see where they are so that we can use them more regularly. And I highly recommend that you hang your hats or anything else you need to grab quickly on command hooks. I sure hope that you found our tips and our hacks helpful. We're always looking for new ones to share with you. And hey, we'd love to hear yours. Let's all help each other make this liveaboard life a little more livable. Y'all take care, and we'll see y'all soon.